What is up, guys? This is Jazz, and this is going to be my War Within Season 1 PvP guide for Distraction Warlock. We will talk about talents, hero talents, PvP talents, stats, tier sets, rotation, best comps to play, and Distraction gameplay in general. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer you. Also, if you want to watch me live, make sure to follow me on Twitch. Let's begin. Alright guys, let's start with talents. This is the spec we are going to be playing. We're going to be focusing on Hellcaller Distraction. You guys have been asking me about Diabolist. Diabolist requires some buffs on Ruination and some pet damage. Some pet damage buffs. So as of right now, we're focusing on Hellcaller. I'll show you how the build works, how the spec works. So yeah, let's start. Basically, all the damage, or the majority of the damage you do, is instant. The only moment you cast is when you have uptime. Like let's just say you have an opportunity to cast. Of course, you want to get the Chaos Bolt off. But the only moment you are actually casting while getting trained is when you're getting your Ritual of Ruin, or when you're getting your Soulfire proc. Now you can even remove that if you want to cast even less, and you could go, for example, Rolling Havoc or Power Overwhelming and so on for passive damage increase. But this is the one I'm playing. Or even Burn to Ashes, for example, if like there is Melee training you, you can also play that. This is the one I prefer, this is the one I play. Keep in mind that Wither benefits from all the shadow damage and all the fire damage increase. From all the abilities. For example, Roaring Blaze would buff its damage. Same goes for Blackened Soul, which is its proc. Few important things about Hellcaller is that the more stacks you have, the more damage you're gonna be doing. Blackened Soul deals 2% increased damage per stack of Wither, so when they explode, the higher the Wither stacks, the higher the damage is gonna be. Also, when you press your Malevolence, your Soul Shard abilities will grant you an additional stack. That's during your go. And the main idea of the spec is applying instant damage to as many targets as possible, duplicating your damage and multiplying it correctly. Like, for example, you get a Mayhem Pro, you want to duplicate your Confligate, your Roaring Blaze effect for the 25% damage increase, or your Shadowburn for the 5% damage increase. Basically, everything you press increases damage from upcoming abilities, right? So if you have Flashpoint up, it's gonna give you Ashen's Remains, it's gonna give you Haste, and the max damage you can have on a target should be 1, 2, and 3. So that's the general idea. A few words about PvP talents. Bane of Havoc could be used in very rare scenarios, but right now it's nerfed, so the passive CD is way higher. It's not like Mayhem. Another word against casters, Gateway Mastery against melee cleaves mainly. Same goes for Shadow Rift. Those are the two things that could go together even, or you can use one at a time. Mainly I would suggest you to go for Gateway Mastery. It's easier, it's more helpful, and it decreases the CD of your gate by 30 seconds. Bonds of Fel, I'm not playing that right now. I think it does decent damage, but I don't have a spot for it. We could see it being played in the future. We're gonna test it live on stream. Impish Instincts, very important against mid cleaves, reducing the CD of your port. Soul Rip, very important again against pretty much everything. Fell Fissure, if you have no MS in your team, you play it. If you have MS in your team, you can play Soul Rip. Cold Observer, basically against casters. It's pretty okay still, even though it got nerfed by a lot. And that's pretty much it. Alright, I'm gonna show you my rotation now, guys, or how the rotation should look like. Basically, you want to Wither as many times as possible on every target to get the flashpoint, increase damage, and so on. Use your Shadow Burns instantly, or you get a proc here. Maybe you can duplicate your Wither, or you can Chaos Bolt if you're able to cast. Or you get another proc of Mayhem, you can use Shadowburn, or you can use Soulfire on 2 different targets. right? This is basically, or you can call it, this is basically how you want to benefit when you are getting the Mayhem proc. You want to save as many globals as possible. And you want to be keeping your Wither up, and you want to be stacking it up. Now that I'm getting my stacks up, for example, I'm going to go for my max burst, right? Soulfire, duplicated, infernal, using my shards, malevolence, exploding, 11 stacks, roaring blaze, shadow burn, double soulfire again, and that's basically the max damage you can do. Basically keeping up your stacks, giving more stacks to yourself by using your shards, saving as many globals as possible, and buffing the upcoming damage, buffing the damage from your upcoming abilities, as I explained to you earlier, by having Wither, by having Shadow Burn, and by having Confrigate right before you bolt, for example. That would be the optimal case. So that's about it when it comes to rotation. If you guys have, and max damage, of course, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. When it comes to stats, you guys want to put as much haste and versa as possible. Basically, haste is the lowest stat usually early on in a new expansion, so put as much haste as possible, versa, and then mastery. Mastery scales way better in later seasons like season 3 or season 4 because stats go up like crazy, so we can put a lot more points into mastery. Now, when it comes to force set, like you can check this, it says 5% fire damage increase when your Confrigate critically strikes. It's actually 2, it says 2%, I think it's 2.5 in Arena, but it says 2, so I don't know, could be 2. It's usually, everything is usually nerfed by 50% in PvP. I don't think this is worth it. You can most likely have way better stats, like you can put haste versa by yourself instead of putting crit mastery, for example, to get the force set. I think you can just put versatility here and haste and have a better time. And now about crafted gear, I've tested those two. The item level is lower than the PvP one. I don't know if it's the same on retail. If we have to tune down our item level for better stats, we might do it. I will keep you updated though on stream. The chance of this is very low. We get one proc every minute or every 2 minutes, like it's insanely low. But when it procs, it's really good. Like the haste you're getting is a lot, and it lasts for a long time. So I think this could be worth it, but I need to still check out how much item level we are losing for that, because 632 into 639, we will see. I will keep you updated, as I said, guys. So this is one of the options we have. We also have, I think, a few ring options. You're getting basically like we did in the previous seasons. You're getting equal stats. Like for example, this item right here. You could have a ring with like equal versa and haste. We might play one of those. About precognition and gems in general, like precognition is just gem now, so we just put it in like this. It's an Algari diamond gem, it's unique equipped, so you just put it in and you have your precognition. You don't have to craft it anymore. So that's basically it, I think, when it comes to stats, tier set, and crafted gear. If you have more questions, ask in the chat. Now, when it comes down to comps, you guys have been asking what's the best comp for Lock, what comps to play, and so on. In reality, it depends on how the meta is gonna look like, but the most solid comps the past few years will be Shadowplay, MLD, Demo L, Demo Moonkin, RLD, even Feral Druid in some cases. But again, it depends on how strong the classes we play with are. Like meta really defines the comps, so we could see new comps coming out. My point is, meta defines everything. If a class is tier S plus, and you combine that with another tier S plus, then you can have a new comp. So that's pretty much it when it comes down to comps. Game begins. setting up my port and my gate. So the main goal in this game, guys, is to keep Wither up as much as possible, have as much Wither uptime as possible, because that's my main source of damage. Applied my comfort gate and my eradication on this feral druid. Wither is up on everyone, malevolence is up, I'm doing maximum damage, very low HP, port back. Really good link by my healer, saves the day. The melees are again on me. This is one of the hard matchups, so pay attention. Very good static totem into the coil. Keeping up my Wither. I need to Wither the healer as soon as possible. Windrush totem. I keep running. Most likely I'm gonna port very soon. There's the port. Rain to spend the shards. Shadow Fury in the back. Wither. Comfort gate. Thunderstorm. Slow Curse and Warrior. Wither. Most likely I'm gonna port once again. This is my wall. Wither on healer. I have a Mayhem proc. Comfort gate. I had to coil the warrior. It's a very dangerous situation here. My malevolence is up. I'm doing a lot of damage. Healthstone. Pact. Thunderstorm. Mayhem. I have my gateway here. I think I'm playing long gate too. Soulfire. There's a long gate. Slowing them, and I keep running, I keep running, I keep running. Always very dangerous game. Port away. You just never stop running, and you just keep applying Wither. I want you guys to watch my damage. So I'm getting trained by 2 melees, and at the same time, while I'm running, I'm top DPS. So yeah. Hellcaller damage is insanely good, and this is how you want to be playing against double melee. You want to run as much as possible, you want to work for your uptime as much as possible. There's a fear on the Dispel, really good. Port, Insane Thunderstorm, all calculated. Insane Lasso provides me uptime. Chaos Bolt, Comfort Gate, Shadowburn, Wither, 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 Wither. Basically a lot of Wither. Malevolence. Max damage is up. My damage is still ramping up. I have a Soul Rip ready, which I could use here. I got a Precognition proc. I think that was a swap from the healer. Shadow Melt from the Feral Druid. I keep running back to my port. Run back to the port. Have a Mayhem proc. Might have to coil the water here or just gateway. We'll find out. Actually, I just gateway. And the game ends. Look at the damage while I'm trained. I'm telling you guys that Hellcaller Distraction has tremendous potential this season. The passive damage you do is pretty high, and the moment you pop it, you pop like you pop Malevolence, you pop your the Blackened Soul. That's when the real damage comes out. So most of the time, like 95% of the damage is going to be instant. 90 to 95% damage is going to be instant every time. So overall, guys, make sure to keep your Wither up. Cast when you're able to cast. Make sure you get the correct globals out when you're getting trained. Make sure you get your Comfort Gates and your Shadowburns correctly when you get the Mayhem procs. As I told you earlier, as I showed to you earlier on the training dummy part, on the rotation part. And yeah, that is pretty much it from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting, and I'll see you on the next one.